After the holidays, there's so much to clean up and get ready for the coming year. This leaves me exhausted and a lot of things falling off my to-do list. It's time to lock in, and Omaha Steaks delivers everything you crave to reset after the holidays. An order from them means having high-quality Omaha steaks on hand at all times. I'm a big meat lover myself, and I always go with medium rare. But there's also plenty of poultry and other options available. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. A family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. Let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality proteins right to your door. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their end-of-season sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code YUM at checkout. That's OMAHA steaks.com, promo code YUM. Terms apply. See site for details. Go to www.omahasteaks.com to get 50% off site-wide during their end-of-season sale. And use promo code YUM at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply. Thanks to Omaha Steaks for sponsoring us.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
This is episode 435 of Wheel Bearings. I am Sam Abuel-Samad from Telemetry.
I am Nicole Wakelin from Top Speed.
And I'm Roberto Baldwin from SAE International.
And this last week when Robbie and I recorded, I was already in Vegas getting prepared for CES. Yes. And now Nicole is back with us. Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch of stuff from CES to talk about. And a bunch of other stuff, too. There's lots happened this week.
It was a week full of
craziness.
Yes, lots of craziness. But let's start with what we've been driving. Nicole?
Do I get to go first? Okay, yeah. I have been driving the 2026 Subaru Outback Premium in sapphire blue pearl. It's very pretty, actually. Yeah. I decided blue cars are my favorite color. I like red cars, but red is red. The sapphires,
like that song from the 90s about blue cars.
What? Oh, is there a song? I don't remember
that song.
Tell me all your thoughts on God, because I really like to meet her.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about.
That song,
yes,
yeah.
I do.
I think the song is called Blue Cars.
Blue Cars? Well, this is not that song, but it is a blue car. So the Outback was completely redesigned, 7th generation of this. So they've done all sorts of great stuff to make it newer, faster, better, stronger. It's much boxier. It is very boxy, rugged. Like it was curvier.
It's different.
Tell us what you really think, Sam. So they've changed how it looks. It's funny because the styling, I feel like the SUVs sort of swing one direction and then the other. They go very we must not look like an SUV. We want to fake you out. I want you to think I'm a coupe. I'm just rounded and curvy and sexy. And nah, I'm an SUV. I'm boxy and this one went the boxy direction. So the MSRP on this, it starts, I don't have a Monroney. I know you're shocked. $34,995, and destination. What I have, you guys want to take a guess? I got 3 different numbers, so I'm going with one of them. Mm-hmm.
Pick whatever number I
go with. $14.95.
Okay, I had $14.50, so Sam wins. I also found another spot that said $15.95, but that seemed like a weird number, so we're going with $14.50.
Yeah, either way, Sam wins.
Sam wins no matter what. Sam wins. Nicole's always wrong. Sam always causes problems. Sam always wins. That's how it works.
No, I think Robbie. Someday we'll go back through and do some stats, but I think Robbie wins more often.
Is Robbie the winner more often?
I hope it's not me.
Oh, maybe
I have to go back and do all the specs.
All the specs. So, 2-row crossover. It was 5 rows. 5-person, 2-row crossover, 5 rows. Mine has right now, it's January in New Hampshire, so it has the super rugged plastic floor mats designed to keep the salt from eating your car. And it's funny, the regular ones are in the back. Like they swapped them out. I'm like, oh, there's the pretty ones. They're like in the cargo area when I lifted it up. But those get destroyed in a heartbeat if you live anywhere where there's salt. So this is kind of like the perfect condition. This is like why you buy a Subaru if you live in New England is the month of January. That's pretty much it. Because it'll get you through whatever you have. I drove it in, we had a little bit of an ice storm, and I was driving around in that because I had to, and then it was encased in ice in my driveway to the point that I had to like bang on the door, like bang, 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 like release door,
around
like
around
bang, 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 around the seam of the door. It's
Yeah.
like, please be free, please be free. So it was great. And even my driveway was covered with ice because of when I came home. And ice is like the trickiest of things. Snow is one thing, but when it's icy and the control you have when it's icy and your tires make such a big difference. But it was really good driving around in really horrific conditions. Didn't have any problems getting over the little snowbanks, the icy little mass at the end of the driveway. So as far as winter weather driving, which I don't always get to test a vehicle in, I did test this one and it was fabulous. There's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder under the hood. It's 180 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque. There's a CVT. You know this is a CVT. Like you really know this is a CVT. It is a bit on the loud side. It's like almost disturbingly so. I was a little disappointed in how loud it was because you don't have to really, between the sound of the engine and the sound CVT, it just constantly sounds like it's working really, really hard. Now, I think it's one of those things that if you're not someone who is criticizing and critiquing cars like the three of us do, you might just say, oh, engine, whatever. But it is kind of loud. It's not exactly the quietest driving experience, but it's enough it gets you up to speed. I mean, it's strong enough. It wasn't a problem driving it. It was, you got going. It was good. So in terms of that, I enjoyed it. And there's now a 12.1 inch infotainment touchscreen. There's a 12.3 inch digital instrument cluster. So it looks, it has an updated look. It looks modern inside. Felt like the touchscreen was nice and responsive, which is good. The only thing I could not get to, it fought with me the whole time. So I don't know if this was I even took the case off of my phone. So I could not get the Qi little charging pad to work. And and at first, sometimes my case does that just because of my case. So I popped it off. I put it in there. It still won't work. It is as centered as one can possibly get it on that little charging pad. It wouldn't work. And then when I finally got it, like it would be like off, on, off, on, off, on. But it's just smooth plastic. So even if you do get it in the right spot, the first time it has an opportunity to move a quarter of an inch out of place, it's like, whoop, you stopped. I'm sliding out of place. So that was like my biggest complaint. Gosh dang it, make it so that your phone doesn't slide around on the charging pad. Like give it some kind of little bumpers or give it some kind of click into place or something to keep it from just shooting around inside that center cubby area.
Nissan's got you covered starting on some of their 2026 models.
I know.
They got the first Qi 2 with the magnets in there.
I love this idea. Make everything just because then then you're not doing that like you're like, is it on? Is it on? No, is it on? Like you ever do that, you're kind of just keep slide it a little bit, slide it a little bit, slide it a little bit until you think, oh wait, there you go, and you realize that it's. But then as soon as you go around a corner, this one's really bad.
We have wireless charging in the Hyundai.
Yeah.
And we never use it.
I use it all the time.
It's below, it's on the bottom. Like we should use it a lot. Like you can get to it and it's in a spot where it shouldn't slide. There's a little lip for it. Like everything should work as it should. And it does when you plug in it, but it's like, meh. I always forget it's there.
I love having wireless charging.
On the EV6, it's right on the center console.
Okay.
Oh, that's how I lost my phone.
That's
how
I
lost it.
I left it in the car at an EV6 GT drive because we were doing, we were drifting and it shut off. And I got back to the hotel and I had to call them and be like, hey, I think I left my phone in the car and I had to find my iPhone on and they're like, okay. And then they went to the taco place before they brought me the iPhone and I was really tempted. They text them again and be like, hey, could you bring me some tacos?
Yeah, while you're out, I could take a taco before you come back.
If you guys could bring me some
phone.
tacos. I wasn't really stressed. I mean, you can get mostly everything I needed on my computer. So all my text messages, emails, everything.
That is the worst panic, though.
The big problem we have both in the EV6 and I've had in a lot of other cars is, after a couple of minutes, it comes up and says, your phone's getting too hot.
Too hot. Yeah. It'll stop charging.
And it's not clear why that hit. And then on a bunch of other cars, like the one that's in my driveway right now, you get the message that you can't you can't have metallic objects in between the phone and the car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the phone is a metallic object.
Right.
You can't wrap it in aluminum foil.
Metal. Yeah.
So we just I don't know. We plug it in.
That's what I did. I put a cable in the car for my wife, and
I like the wireless. So I try to use it in press cars, and some of them work well, some of them don't. This didn't, but overall, I mean, I do like the Subaru. It is the car that you get when you want durable, rugged. And I was even looking at, like I said, there was ice.
Durable, so rugged?
Durable.
Oh, durable.
Rugged.
Okay.
No,
durable.
she said durable, rugged.
Durable. Durable. I suppose
durable, rugged.
Durable, rugged. It's
durable.
Gerbil.
Gerbils don't seem like the most rugged animals to me.
Well,
they drive Kia
Souls. Did you ever have a gerbil? I mean, they're pretty sneaky little things. Anyway, I did like driving it, and for the case study of I live in New England. I want a car that has plenty of room, that can handle the mud and the muck, and also the salt. There's a lot of salt on this car. The blue is not really blue. It's kind of a hazy white at the moment. But that's the worst for your car. But it also means the conditions have been terrible. And it's fine. And even getting it out of the car, I'm looking at getting on the, the really rugged floor mats that I was talking about. But it's not so delicate that every time I get in, I think, oh gosh, what am I bringing? I actually am not worrying about it. Not like I'm trying to ruin the Subaru. But there are some cars you get in this time of year and you think, oh man, my shoes are destroying this thing. You don't worry about it as much, which is kind of nice. It's sort of nice that you feel like you don't have to panic that you've destroyed your car because there's salt on the roads or chemicals or whatever the heck they're putting on it wherever you live, because it's harsh on things. But it does have that rugged, durable feel to it so that you don't think that you're going to ruin your car. And I feel like that's kind of why you buy a Subaru. You want it to hold up. And you want it to be able to handle things like snow and
want
winter.
A rugged car that's comfortable, that doesn't have a lot of frills and has a lot of buttons in it.
No.
That's it. And you have a dog. That's it. That's why you buy Subaru.
Or kids, because a dog or kids equal levels of mess. The kids probably more. But dog or kids.
The kids don't usually have claws, though.
Yeah, but kids are destructive little buggers. They are. Kids do things unexpected. Dogs scratch stuff and chew on things. Kids, you're like, what happened? How did this fall apart? What did you do? So, yeah. So overall, I like it. I think it's nice improvements. I know styling, I can tell, Sam, you're like, bleh. But I like how it looks. I think it looks okay.
I mean, as they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I'm not beholding any beauty here, but, that doesn't mean it's not a good vehicle.
Damn.
I don't know that I'm beholding beauty. Beauty's going a little far. I'm beholding attractiveness.
It's too SUV, and the Outback was always like a wagon. That's
It looks and feels like an SUV. Yeah, it's lost its wagon-y vibe.
But also, that's what people buy.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you're Subaru, you make 7 cars.
And they have the Trail Seeker coming now. I mean, for people who prefer the look of the old Outback, frankly, of all the Outbacks before this one,
every Outback prior,
the Trail Seeker, that's the car for you.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Obviously, you used CarPlay, I would assume, most of the time. But did you mess around with the new infotainment system? Because this one is the first Subaru, I think, with a new infotainment system in there, a new Subaru infotainment system, unlike the Solterra, which has a skinned Toyota system. This has Subaru's new system in there. Did you play with that at all?
I mean, I played around with it a little bit. I didn't deep dive into it, but I did think that the system, more than old Subaru systems, was more responsive. I feel like it's the layout. I thought it was better. It's an improvement. It's not a dramatic improvement to me, but I thought the old system was it felt old. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. It just felt old in how it was laid out and how it looked. Just even the design of the icons and stuff on the screen, it had an old style look to the graphics almost. This one now looks modern. This one looks a little better, looks a little current. And I didn't have any issues with it. I thought it was more intuitive than the old one. So yeah, definitely better than what the prior Subaru systems were.
Yeah, because
Sam and I described we described the old system as an old iPad.
Yes. It just like everything worked on the old one. You're just like, this feels like it needs to be newer. Like it just...
Yeah, I mean, last week when you weren't here, I talked about the WRX TS that I had.
Okay.
Which, great car. I really like that car, except for the infotainment system, which was slow and clunky and took a while to boot up. And it was basically like using a Gen 1 iPad in 2025.
And this one, it's lost that feel. Like, it's not like this is some giant step forward in infotainment systems, but it's an improvement over what Subaru was doing before. If you had an old Subaru with the older system and you now get the new Subaru, you're like, they fixed this. So, yeah, I think it's better.
And I believe in your neighboring state of Vermont, Subarus are the only cars that you're legally allowed to register for.
Yeah, there's like a law.
Correct. They won't let you register anything but a Subaru. I think even in New Hampshire, there's a limited amount of time you can live here before you're required to register at least one.
It just shows up in your driveway. You're like, where did this come from? You get a bill. You're just
it's your time in the Subaru.
Here's your Subaru.
I guess
here it is. You can stay
how
now.
I live.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that's the
fine.
Subaru Outback. So I liked it overall. Nice improvements. I think they did a good job. I think other than, like you're saying, less wagony, more SUV. But if you're okay with that, I think this is a good vehicle, and they did some good improvements to it.
Okay.
There we go.
Cool.
Woo!
Well, did you drive anything, Robbie?
I did not. What was I doing? I don't know, working, I guess.
Okay.
Did I drive anything? You talk. I'll look.
You talk. I'll look.
Well, I had I had two different compact crossovers that I spent time with. That one is larger and less expensive, and definitely I think less fun to drive, and the other one is arguably less attractive, but more fun to drive. Actually, even the other one is not terribly attractive. So I had the 2026 Honda HR-V all-wheel drive EXL, which is the highest trim level of the HERV. And unlike Subaru, where they call their base model premium on all their vehicles, which is kind of odd.
Confusing.
Honda doesn't do stuff like that. They just have random letters and stuff. So you get the EXL is the highest trim level of the HERV, the HR-V. And so this is the second generation of HR-V in North America. The first generation was based on the Honda Fit platform. And the rest of the world got an updated HR-V that's based on the latest generation of the Fit or Jazz, depending on where you live. But because we don't get that vehicle here in North America anymore, they gave us a new HR-V that is a little bit bigger, and it's now based on the Civic platform. And the styling is not bad. It's just kind of meh. It's kind of boring, kind of a blob. So it's not exciting. It's absolutely inoffensive.
You could rob a bank and they wouldn't be able to find you. If you got a white one of these,
this is like the ultimate camouflage car.
Where'd they go? I don't know. It's like
sitting right there. What? I don't see anything. Yeah, it's right there at the curb. Where? I don't see it.
We'll never catch these thieves, criminal masterminds.
At least this one, unlike the ADX, which is basically the same car, but more premium. This one thankfully did not come in urban gray. This one was finished in a silver, which is slightly less boring. But it's a fine car to drive. It's fortunate. It has less power than the Acura ADX, but it also weighs about 300 pounds less. So that's a plus. That was one of my complaints with the ADX. The powertrain was okay, but it was too heavy. It's about 3,600 pounds. The HR-V is about 3,300. And really, with the first generation HR-V, my biggest complaint with the car was the powertrain. That one had a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder with a CVT. This time around, it still has a CVT, but it's got the base 2 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that's in the that you can also get in the Civic, which is I think about 149 horsepower, if I recall correctly. 158 horsepower. So it's definitely more significantly more powerful than the first gen or the previous generation HRV. But it's not gonna get your blood boiling. It's not exciting. But it's not a slug. So the one I had was it was the all-wheel drive EXL. When you get inside, if you've been in a current generation Civic, the environment will feel very familiar. Honda's gone to this more horizontal theme, like a lot of car companies do. It makes it look wider and larger than it is. Across the center of the dash, spanning all the way across, is this hexagonal mesh type of grille, and the vents are behind that, and the vents are manually controlled, as they should be in any proper car. The seats, are typical Honda comfortable. They're not, this one, the EXL has some power seats for the driver, but it doesn't have a huge number of adjustments. Basically, fore aft, height and the seat back angle. But that's fine. For somehow Honda just makes them work really well. They're fairly supportive. The HRV, like the Civic, has a conventional shifter. It doesn't have the push button style that you find on a lot of Hondas and Acuras these days. It's got 3 knobs under the center vents for your temperature controls and fan speed. There's another knob on the side of the 9-inch touchscreen that sits on top of the dash for volume. It's just all very functional, and works well. The one that I had the gray because it's an EXL, has leather interior. It has gray perforated leather. You can also get it in black, which looks a little more. The gray looks a little brighter. Makes it feel a little more open and airy. But I'm not sure I'd actually want to have the gray, especially if I had to haul my dogs around or kids, because it's a very light gray, and so it's much more likely to pick up colors that it didn't originally have. Let's put it that way.
Magic colors.
Yes, magic colors. The driving dynamics are fine. It handles and rides reasonably well, as you would expect of anything with the Civic platform. Like I said, you can definitely feel the difference in the weight between this and an ADX. The ADX, even though Acura is supposed to be the performance brand of Honda, that particular car, just because it's heavy, just doesn't feel that lively. This one, not as lively as a Civic, but definitely, I think, better than the ADX to drive, even though it has a little less power. And overall, it's as an urban, as a relatively compact urban commuter crossover, I think it works really well. I think, one of the things that, this one obviously misses, being based on the Civic rather than on the Fit platform. The old one had the Honda Magic seats that you could either flip them down so you have a big flat load floor, or you can flip the rear seat cushions up, which, if you have a tall object to put in there, like a bicycle, for example, you can fit some really tall stuff in there because it's got a relatively flat floor and those seats fold up and you get a good amount of room. The HRV's wheelbase is a little bit shorter than a Civic, so you actually get a little bit less legroom in the HRV than you do in a Civic, but you get more headroom because it's taller. So you're trading off. Depends on the proportions of the people you're gonna carry around. If you've got younger children with long torsos, the HRV may be a better choice. Otherwise, if they got long legs, the Civic might be a better choice for you. All in, let's see, the one that I had, let's get to, because oddly enough, this one did not have a Monroney, which is fairly unusual for here, but I think it's because this one had just come into the local press fleet, and they didn't have it all scanned and put in the system yet. So, total MSRP on this one with for the EXL, basically no other options on it. Honda tends to package stuff, so there's not a lot of individual options with Hondas. You basically, you pick your trim level and it's got a certain set of stuff. There are a bunch of dealer installed accessories that you can get, but all in, this one came to $33,300, which is not bad. Like I said, it's not an exciting car to look at, but it works. It's functional, gets the job done. It's got a decent amount of cargo room, decent amount of space. You want to take a guess at the destination fee?
$12.95.
I was gonna say that. I'm gonna go.
Haha.
Dang it, Robbie.
Higher or lower?
I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go $13.50.
You win. It's actually $14.50.
Take that, Robbie. Stealing my number.
Oh, sorry.
The one other issue I had with the HRV was the fuel economy was not great. No hybrid available in HRV, and it was fairly cold the week that I was driving it, and it averaged about 23 miles per gallon, 23, 24 miles per gallon, which, for a relatively smaller car, is not that impressive. It'd be nice to see Honda offer their hybrid system in the HRV, since this is based on a Civic platform. Should be fairly straightforward to do, but they do not currently offer the hybrid in the HRV. If they did, that would absolutely be the one I would recommend, because it would have more power and substantially better fuel economy. But if you want a Honda hybrid crossover, you're going to have to step up a size class to the CRV instead of the HERV. So that's the 2026 HRV all-wheel drive EXL. The other vehicle that I drove is also a compact crossover, but this was the Lexus UX300H F-Sport handling. This is the smallest Lexus currently sold in North America. I think they actually do have a smaller model that they sell in Japan. I can't remember the name of it, but they have an even smaller crossover that they sell there that I think is based on the Yaris, if I'm not mistaken. And this one has a 2-liter 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain from the Prius, and it's 196 combined horsepower. It is the typical, it's the same hybrid system you find in a lot of Toyotas and Lexi. But because this is a Lexus, it's got a little more sound deadening material. And so even though the behavior is largely the same as what you get in a Prius or a Camry or a Corolla or a RAV4, in terms of, when you go to accelerate, it revs the engine up. It doesn't sound quite as obtrusive. The engine is still, it's not the most refined engine in the world, but it works, and it's just a little less noisy in the passenger compartment, because I think they add some extra insulation to keep that noise out. The UX comes with front-wheel drive. It's not all-wheel drive. It's got dual-zone climate control, manual folding rear seats. There's a tonneau cover. The color on this one is the copper crest color, which is sort of a cross between a copper color and sort of a rose gold. So it's a little more pinkish than you would typically find in most shades of copper. It's an attractive color. I'm not a huge fan of the design, the shape of the car, but the size, I like the size. It's actually a little smaller than the HRV. And when you walk up to it, the roof line is surprisingly low. It feels more like a car. It's actually it's a few inches taller than a Corolla or a Civic, but not as tall as an HRV. Certainly not as tall as an RX or most other larger crossovers. So it feels more like a slightly tall compact hatchback. which by me, in terms of the form factor, I'm actually good with that. I like that. So you're not unlike some, a lot of, traditional passenger cars, especially as you're getting older. You may not want to drop down into the car as much. I think, this one has got a reasonable height. It's easy to get in and out of. You don't have to climb up into it. You don't have to drop down into it. It's kind of like that sweet spot right in the middle there. And the back seat is a little tighter. It's, like I said, it's smaller than the HRV. So, you can certainly go out to dinner with another couple, with a pair of adults or your adult children. But you probably don't want to take a long road trip with two adults in the back seat. It's definitely a little more snug back there. Fuel economy, of course, it's as a Toyota/Lexus hybrid system that is not on a body-on-frame truck or SUV. Fuel economy is excellent. It's rated at 45 city, 41 highway, 43 combined. I got, I think, I'm trying to remember now. I think I got 44-ish on my fuel economy loop. Again, that was in cold weather. So if you're driving it in warmer weather, it'd probably do even better. This one had power moonroof, 18-inch sport alloy wheels, came on all-season tires. It's got the same infotainment system that we've had on Toyotas and Hondas for a few years now, which is, it's fine. It's, the performance of it is good. As I've said before, my only real complaint with it is just the not being able to display two things on the screen at once, like your maps and your media player. So you have to toggle back and forth to, if you want to pause what you're playing while you're listening to nav, things like that. And that's something that's going to be addressed as models get updated, starting with the new RAV4. That's the first one that's got their next generation infotainment, and they take care of that problem in there. Overall, it's a nice premium small crossover. So if that's something you're looking for, it's not a bad deal. This one had a few options on there. The heads-up display for $900. The premium paint, that copper crest paint, was $595. Mud guards, a few other things. Grand total came to $48,795, which is seems a bit pricey for a small hatchback, but it's when you compare it against other premium offerings, in the size class, if you take an Acura ADX and load it up, if you get like the A-Spec with the technology package and all that, you're getting close to this price point as well. And I think this was actually more fun to drive than an ADX. So this, it's an interesting choice if you like the design. I think it's got a lot of good functionality. And you want to take guesses at the destination charge?
$14.95.
Robbie gets it. It was actually $11.50. So
wow,
relatively modest.
Totally the wrong way.
Yeah. Even though this car is coming from Japan, it's built in Japan. So
After the holidays, there's so much to clean up and get ready for the coming year. This leaves me exhausted and a lot of things falling off my to-do list. It's time to lock in, and Omaha Steaks delivers everything you crave to reset after the holidays. An order from them means having high-quality Omaha steaks on hand at all times. I'm a big meat lover myself, and I always go with medium rare. But there's also plenty of poultry and other options available. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. A family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. Let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality proteins right to your door. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their end-of-season sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code YUM at checkout. That's OMAHA steaks.com, promo code YUM. Terms apply. See site for details. Go to www.omahasteaks.com to get 50% off site-wide during their end-of-season sale and use promo code YUM at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply. Thanks to Omaha Steaks for sponsoring us.
Weight Watchers now offers access to affordable GLP-1s. It works for members like,
I'm Haley, and I've lost 100 pounds. Weight Watchers has everything I need, from weight loss medications to nutrition support and help with my side effects. It's all in one place.
Weight Watchers handles the insurance for you and offers affordable cash pay options. With our program, our members are losing more weight with expert nutrition and side effect support.
I'm Mike, and I've lost 135 pounds. Weight Watchers prescribing GLP-1 medications. It's been life-changing.
I'm Sharia, and I lost 80 pounds on Weight Watchers. I realized that it would take more than a prescription to lose weight and feel good on a GLP-1.
Better results, expert support, lose more weight, make it last.
I can't imagine doing a GLP-1 without Weight Watchers.
Get started for as low as $25 at weightwatchers.com/GLP-1. For over 60 years, we've helped millions of members find what works for them. Now, it's your turn. Weight Watchers. Watch it work.
Did you know you can support Wheel Bearings directly? Head to patreon.com/wheelbearingsmedia and you can become a patron today. Your contributions will help fund the platforms and tools we use to bring the podcast to you. And exclusives and improvements are already on the way thanks to your generosity. So if you want to be part of an automotive podcast like no other, head to patreon.com/wheelbearingsmedia. We've updated the Wheel Bearings merch store, and now there's a whole bunch of new choices, new colors, new styles, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, hats, mugs, travel mugs, stickers, aprons, tote bags, you name it. You can get your Wheel Bearings merch at shop.wheelbearings.media. Go check it out. That's shop.wheelbearings.media.
Okay.
All right. So that's the garage. Let's talk about some other stuff that happened this week. So Nicole and I were both in Las Vegas. I'm not sure how long you were there for, Nicole.
Most of the week. I was there for a good while.
Yeah, I got there on Saturday. I had some stuff starting on Sunday, and I came home on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah. I got there Sunday and came home Thursday night. So, yeah.
So pretty similar.
Yeah.
But we didn't run into each other, although I did run into some other folks that I know, just randomly. So
yeah. It's a busy place. You see people or you completely miss them and you have no idea how.
So what did you see?
I saw a lot of stuff. It's kind of funny because there was a point in time where all the automakers were suddenly appearing there, and now they're not. Like they've sort of gone backwards. Like
they're there,
here.
just not with booths, not with giant booths and displays and announcements.
They're there sometimes as a part of something else. Like they've got technology from XYZ company. XYZ company decides to have their car sitting in a booth to highlight their technology. So,
Hyundai had a huge booth.
Hyundai did, but
they just didn't have any cars in it.
I was going to say, did you go to Hyundai's presentation?
No, because I went to the Nvidia keynote instead.
Okay, the Hyundai presentation was really cool, but had nothing to do with their cars. Like, all robots all the time. And the robots, the little dancing robots, as Robbie said, the dancing dog robots, which was like, this is really cool, but it was a little like thrown. I'm like, I can't write dancing dog robots are not necessarily automotive. I mean, they use them in their manufacturing. And then they had their new humanoid robot that's all with Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
All with Boston Dynamics. And then we had a Q&A with them afterwards with a whole panel of some of the folks from Hyundai and some of the folks from Boston Dynamics. And it was really interesting, but it was all about how their robots are going to be coming in. It wasn't car related, but it was really cool because it got Boston Dynamics guy said, these will be in your house someday, but first they have to work in a
not going to be in my house.
In a manufacturing environment, right? And they look very human. We're all kind of like, but Skynet, like he shows this diagram.
They don't look that. I mean, other than having two
together.
legs, two arms, and a head, they don't really look human.
I know. Well, what freaks me out is because they have these really movable ball joints. They can pick up a box, and instead of turning their feet, they just swivel their hips the other way. I'm like, that just feels wrong. But anyway, so that was Hyundai's thing. So Hyundai's thing wasn't actually cars. BMW did have cars. They had a car. They have the iX3, and they have it outside in this like Silver Lot. It's the loop at the Silver Lot outside the convention center, which is apparently where they always have their stuff. But the thing that was kind of interesting to me. I mean, the car is the car, cool.
But
There's
they had the
lots of
car,
neat
but
stuff.
they had no pavilion like they've had in years past.
No, it was just like the car out there, and they had 5 or 6 of them. They had people. They had really good coffee. They gave you a little macaron. It was cool. But you could chat with different people, and I chatted with Nick Gersner, who's a project manager for the iX3 in the U.S., and it was interesting hearing about the car because this is the first, am I going to say it right? Neue Klasse? Am I saying it right, I think?
Yeah.
Neue Klasse. So it's a big deal. It's this whole new thing, and they've it's a second gen iX3, and they've reimagined it, and they say it's going to be available summer of this year, summer 26. It's faster charging. They redesigned the interior. They had to have this like pillar to pillar screen in the front. I guess you'd say like I don't want to call it an infotainment. I mean, an instrument cluster because it's kind of got everything in it. But then there's also like a head-up display in some of them. So it looks really cool. It's beautiful and it looks cool. But the interesting thing when I was chatting with them, I said, okay, cool. But you're introducing this whole new platform for your EVs. But people are not as hot to trot on EVs in the U.S. as they were a couple of years ago. And they still have the X3, which is the gas version. And they made this really concerted effort to say, yes, gas is going nowhere. We are not kicking gas to the curb. There's 2 different vehicles, 2 different people, and we shall have them both. So it was kind of weird to see like what they have at the show is iX3. But don't forget, we do gas vehicles. So it wasn't like a backpedal, but it's interesting to see an OEM who's clearly gone all in with that angle to then try and say like, but also, guys, don't think of us as just an EV. We're not going all EV. We're going to honor the gas engines. And I talked to a couple different people there that all said the same thing. Like you drive the EV and it's very nice and they love it and it's fabulous. But there is something different about being in a gas vehicle. And that's also fabulous. Like it's a trade-off. It was interesting to hear them say it's not this one is better and this one is worse. It's just these are 2 very different things. You think?
Yes.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying, but I mean, they're trying to say like in terms of like EVs period or combustion engine period, that there's very different like experiences driving each of those. So yeah, it was funny to see all these iX3s, which look fabulous and looks like they've done some great things. And, I hopefully will get to drive one sometime soon and we'll experience what it's like. Because this was really just seeing them and looking at them and talking to product people. But it was nice that they said, we have these EVs. We're really good at doing EVs. They've been doing them for a long time. It's not new technology for them. Doing an EV is not a new space for BMW. But hey, don't forget, we're not getting rid of the gas engines, which I don't know that was so much the statement years ago. They sort of changed, or not even if they've changed their point of view, they're refocusing what they're saying.
Well, what's interesting, I think, about BMW is they have arguably done the best job of any of the German automakers at building EVs.
Yes.
But they have also been, they were the least aggressive in terms of their prognostications on when they would transition away from internal combustion.
Exactly.
And this is why, that they focused on most of their platforms were flexible platforms that could do combustion, could do hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or full battery electric. Mm-hmm. And, admittedly, I was somewhat critical of that approach in the past, mostly because I thought it didn't necessarily optimize to gain all of the benefits of an EV. Yeah, because they were really, really good. They were way better than I anticipated. Now the i4, the i7, you lose some packaging efficiency. Like it still has the drive shaft tunnel down the middle in the back seat. Rather than the flat floor like you would have if it was a pure EV. But that's everything else about it is so good. And I'm anxious to drive the iX3 and the other Neue class models to see, and they've done a lot of interesting stuff with that, because they did such a good job with the powertrain, especially on all their EVs. It's very efficient. That I'm looking forward to driving it. The only thing I'm not looking forward to, that iX3 vents.
Oh no, are the vents are they in the I can't even get the words out. I don't have real vent controls, do I?
Nope.
Didn't check that. Oh, for the love of God. Why? This makes me sad. Me sad. Oh, I miss that. But I'm still excited to drive it. I still am, even though, dang it. That's like a deal breaker territory for me.
The ID Polo. Yeah.
Like, oops, are bad.
No.
Yeah. We've made you angry. Yes.
It doesn't save cost. It's more expensive. It's more complicated than mechanical vents. And it just doesn't work as good.
Right? So, other than that, exciting that they're coming out with this. And I did ask them too about next generation of it. Are you nervous about how well it's, do you have it figured out? It's going to be one of those new generation, new car, or whatever. And all of a sudden you have all sorts of issues. They're like, no, we're 100% confident. We got this. I'm like, okay.
What do you think about the new design language?
I like how it looks. I like it. I think it's overall, I like it better than, I don't feel like the grill is so much two giant teeth in the front. Because I think they look like beaver teeth. I didn't like how they looked, and I think it looks better. I did not like that giant beaver teeth era for BMW. They did. They did not. They're maybe it's they thought maybe if we leaned into it hard enough that okay, everyone's gonna like it. They're like, hey guys, they still don't like it. Maybe we should change this up. They did. They did still sell them.
I can just walk up to it from behind.
You just walked up to the side
okay.
or from the back. Don't ever back into a parking space. Pull into your parking spaces. You only have to look at the rear and the side. Yeah. So that was one of the. I thought BMW was interesting because it wasn't so much the vehicle itself, but just how they were addressing things. I thought it was interesting. And they also said at one point, we think we did it right. Other people who went all in with EVs were we did not say that it was the end of combustion engines and we think we did it right. Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes,
Well,
it is.
I had dinner on Tuesday night with some of the members of the tech leadership team at Ford, including Doug Field, who's head of Model E and like chief product officer for EV and digital. And Alan Clark was also there. He's I can't remember his exact title, but he's in charge of the whole Skunkworks program, doing the universal electric vehicle platform, and talked with them quite a bit on during that dinner. And I'm gonna be very interested to learn more. And they're promising to start telling us more about this platform, this vehicle, over the coming months. Before it's scheduled to go into production around the end of the year. And one interesting detail that came out of the conversations I had with Alan Clark. I asked him, so have you guys figured out how to keep the 12-volt battery charged? And and he said, there's no 12-volt battery. It's going to be an all 48-volt system like the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Settle down.
Well,
settle down.
I also asked Alan, about software development and what percentage of the software team, the software engineers in his team came from legacy Ford versus coming from outside. And he said it's about 85-90% came from outside. Very few from inside. And I asked Doug Field, one of the problems when manufacturers have done stuff like this in the past, like when GM did Saturn in the 90s, and even Ford doing Team Edison like 6 years ago, is that they did all kinds of cool, innovative things, and they completely failed in being able to integrate that back into the main organization. And I asked Doug, how are you going to be able to do that this time? He said, for the time being, we are keeping them completely separate. They're not even trying to integrate that back. Essentially, most of the interaction between the UEV program and the rest of Ford right now is just at the manufacturing level, working with them to actually get it built. But everything else, all the product development, it's like two separate companies.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It's good in the short term because it will hopefully let them get this thing out successfully, assuming they can execute. I mean, that's always the problem, is actually executing on the plan. But 3, 4, 5 years from now, as they're working on next generation stuff, what happens? Are you just going to keep them separate and let the legacy Ford wither and die, and let the EUV or UEV team kind of become Ford? I don't know, or do you have like these two separate organizations running in parallel for the foreseeable future? It's not real clear how that's going to work. Well, yeah, and it's interesting. I had some had some conversations this week with another company that shall remain unnamed, about what's going on at GM. And a few months ago, they hired Sterling Anderson as chief product officer, and there's a lot of discussion going on around the industry, about potential that he could be the next CEO of GM, when Mary Barra decides to step down and retire. And from what I'm hearing, I don't know this for certain, but what I'm hearing is that basically he's saying doing the approach that you said, Robbie. It's like, this is the way it's going to be. This is what we're doing. This is the strat. He's gone in and he's making decisions and moving forward with that. And that it sounds like that's the stuff that we heard from GM in October, November in New York at the GM Forward event, when they announced that they're going to do a level 3 hands-off, eyes-off system and this new electrical architecture. Sounds like a lot of those decisions were made like just in the few months leading up to that. Like, he joined GM in May, and this was in October, and in that interval, they evaluated a lot of stuff. He made a bunch of decisions, and that's the direction they're taking the whole company. Rather than doing this separate parallel program, he said, this is the direction the company's going. And it's led to some interesting decisions, that I can't necessarily get into right now, but we'll talk about them more at a future time when I'm sure I'm allowed to talk about them. But, yeah, but
you do have those moments you start to open your mouth. You're like, oh, and never mind.
But it's like very different approaches that GM and Ford are taking, and then there's Stellantis, and coming up this week is the Detroit Auto Show, and Nicole and I are going to have a chance to sit down with Tim Kuniskis and chat with him. And if anybody's got any questions, I put it out in the Discord. But if anybody listening has any questions that you want us to ask Tim about what Stellantis is doing, send them to us, either in the Discord or, feedback at wheelbearings.media. Let us know what you would like to hear from Tim. But yeah, well,
and if it's inappropriate, we might have to rethink that.
Yeah. Go. Yeah.
Somebody had. I was chatting with somebody about somebody else who was not interviewing Tim and saying I was talking to him, and he very politely asked a question, and I said, I don't know, I might ask it this very not polite way. He's like, that might get more of an answer. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
with Tim, that might be the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, for whatever else you may think of Tim Kuniskis, he's very blunt. He says what he thinks. He is one of those executives that, whatever he thinks, that's what he's going to say, which I'm sure drives, Kayleen Connolly and Sean Morgan and the rest of the communications team at Stellantis kind of crazy, but, it is what it is. It's a tough job being in product or in communications for a big company like that. I did
They're
that.
going to the dark side.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Sadly. Yeah, look and see what it says and pick some clothes, dude. It is
Usually.
normally the dude, yeah. I mean, let's be real. Well, was like, I don't know how to dress for this. Guy's like, do I need a jacket? I don't know. Do you? How old are you? When it's 47. Put a jacket on. Exactly.
Maybe even bring an umbrella in your bag,
Oh, geez. You fought with people on. What did you fight about?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha.
There's just things that they don't necessarily want spoken of.
Yep. I don't think Have I ever had an argument? I maybe had one or two.
But are you like that jerk at SFO the other day? I saw a video this morning that was complaining about, during pre-boarding, a family with 2 little kids was ahead of him, and he was like some United Global Services, which is their equivalent of Delta 360. So I want to go in front of them. It's like fortunately the gate agent treated him the right way and just said, didn't really say anything to him, just ignored him and just kept dealing with the family that was trying to board. Yeah, it's like, don't be that kind of jerk. Yeah. Yeah, none of us really are. Yeah. Anyway, getting back to cars. So, as we mentioned earlier, there's a lot less of like the huge automaker presence at CES than there was 5-10 years ago. In the early 2010s, automakers all flooded to CES. They abandoned auto shows. They went to CES to try and change their image to be thought of as tech companies, and it didn't work. And so most of them realized, wait, we're spending just as much money for a booth at CES as we do at an auto show. We're not getting any more return on our investment. And so they stopped. Most of them have largely stopped doing that. They still get some, like Hyundai, has a big presence there, but it was all about robots this year, not even about cars. But you still, there's still people from every automaker at CES. A lot of them are wandering around, and I ran into some of them, that are
just wandering aimlessly without a booth of their own.
No, I mean they're there. They are there not to present their own stuff, but to see what else is there, looking for interesting new technology, looking for potential new suppliers, so they're there. As attendees, not as exhibitors. But also, you get occasionally some of them show up on the stage, like, the aforementioned Doug Field was on a panel on Wednesday afternoon, I think. Unfortunately, I had a schedule conflict and couldn't make it to that. But during that, they announced that this universal EV platform, it's going to be, they're going to have an AI chatbot agent in there. So is everybody else. Big deal. But they also announced that they're going to have a new in-house developed ADAS and automated driving platform, including level 2+. So that's hands off, eyes on. So basically a next generation of Blue Cruise that is going to be debuting on this $30,000 electric truck that's coming at the end of the year. And then they're going to have hands-off, eyes-off, a level 3 system coming in 2028. And 2028 is like the year when everybody is planning to launch level 3 systems. So Ford's doing their own, which will be interesting. I mean, that's being led by the team from Latitude AI, which is another business unit of Ford that is staffed mainly by, it's led by Sammy Omari, who used to be head of development at Motional, another AV company. And most of the engineers there came from Argo AI, the AV company that Ford was funding and shut down in 2022. They've been working on an in-house level 3 system. So that's going to be coming to this platform. My guess is that you will not get any of that stuff for that base $30,000 price point. You're probably going to be paying somewhere in the mid to upper 40s if you want all of that stuff on your car, on your new Ford EV. But they're doing it. And then we had a Q&A session with Mark Winterhoff, who is still the interim CEO, now almost a year later, at Lucid. And he announced to us that Lucid is going to be adopting some new software from Nvidia that Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, announced on Monday during his keynote. So part of the keynote, a significant part of the keynote, Jensen talked about automated driving and talked about their Hyperion Drive software stack, which is kind of their reference platform that they have that includes all the hardware and all the software. And then automakers can take whatever pieces of that they want to use. Some of them use the compute part of it. Some of them use some of the sensors. Some of them use all or part of the software stack. The CLA, the Mercedes CLA that you talked about, Robbie, that's the first production model to use the entire Hyperion Drive software stack. And then it's coming to a bunch of other vehicles as well. If and when JLR ever introduces any new vehicles, they're going to use the Hyperion Drive stack. But part of that, that's what I've heard. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so the NVIDIA software stack, starts with an operating system, or Halos operating system at the bottom, and then above that, there's actually two completely separate automated driving models. There is the classic, what they're referring to as their classical AV stack, which is a more traditional rules-based type of system, and then above that, there is what they're now calling Alpamayo, which is they're saying it's a complete end-to-end AI-based driving model. So basically, it takes the sensor signals in, outputs the commands to the actuators, and then everything else in between is a complete AV stack. And then in between, there is what they call their safety and policy evaluator. So it's this layer of software that is constantly looking at what the Alpamayo part of it is doing, and if it comes to the determination that the command that it's issuing might cause or contribute to a crash being worse, then it reverts to the classical stack, which is running in parallel all the time. So it can switch back and forth between the two. And when I talked with Ali Khani, who's the head of automotive at NVIDIA the other day, he said that right now, about 97% of the time when you're driving with this system, it's just whatever Alpamayo is telling it to do. And so about 3% of the time it's having to revert to the traditional approach. So that's kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to actually getting a chance to try this out. But when we talked with Lucid, they said that, they're going to adopt the Alpamayo model, because the other thing that Jensen Huang announced is that Alpamayo they're open sourcing it. It's available to anybody to use. And so Lucid is going to add that to their software stack. So they've got their own ADAS system that they've developed in-house, but they're adding Alpamayo to it on the gravity and the air this year. Like in the next few months, they'll be adding that. And by the end of the year, they expect to have what's commonly referred to as L2++ capability. So that's the kind of thing that Mercedes is doing, where you can go hands-free in highway driving, city driving, suburban driving. It recognizes all the traffic signals. You still have to supervise, but it's basically doing everything, which is kind of what the Tesla FSD does, except that it's also, unlike FSD, it still has that safety layer underneath. And then the gravity and the air currently use the Nvidia Orin chips, which is their previous generation of driving processors. For the new midsize model that they're going to be revealing later this year and goes into production in early 27, that one is going to go with dual Thor chips. So those are about 4 times as powerful as the Orin chips. And when they have that with Alpamayo, they plan to have level 3 capability in 2028, and then level 4, like true self-driving, in 2029. So we'll see if they can actually achieve that. But, it's like 2028 seems to be the year when you'll be able to take your eyes off the road for a lot of companies.
We'll see if that happens. I don't trust that. These claims are nothing. Just, guys, in a couple more years, 1 more year from now, 2 more years from now. Yeah, for realsies, we're not kidding. We really, really mean it.
Jason Fensky. Mm-hmm. Maybe, hopefully. I also spent a bunch of time at an event this week talking with Jean-Philippe Gauthier, who's the new head of product development at Lucid. And I had talked to him, and there's in an episode earlier this year, had included an interview I did with him about the electronic architecture on the Gravity when we did the Gravity Drive program last spring. But we spent quite a bit of time talking at this event, and one of the things they told me was that earlier this year he went to their Arizona factory and spent several days there actually working on the assembly line. Because they've had a lot of issues with just trying to get cars built, and as they're going through and finalizing design stuff for the new midsize model. I think it's going to be called Earth, the Lucid Earth. That one, he's also had a lot of the other engineers go and actually spend time in the factory, seeing how stuff actually has to go together. And it's led to a lot of changes in the design in order to make it actually buildable, so they can, start to get quality improved and get costs down. And just make it something that they can actually get out in significant volume. And we talked about a bunch of other things as well, but it's interesting that they're actually spending a lot more time now trying to learn about, what are the problems that customers are having, and what are the problems that the people on the assembly line are having with their cars. And so hopefully that will lead to the Earth and updates in the gravity and air, making those vehicles a lot better. All right, let's see what else. Afeela. Did you go to the Afeela booth, Nicole?
I did swing by Afeela because I wanted to check it out, and they now have their new Afeela prototype, which is Is it an SUV? Is it, what is it?
I mean, when we saw,
that tells you a lot right there.
I was at the press conference on Monday afternoon for that one.
Yeah.
And when it rolled out, we looked at each other and I said, basically a Toyota Crown. It's.
Oh, ouch.
Well,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Well, in that, it looks, the design is very similar to the Afeela 1. It's a very similar shape. It's actually larger than the Afeela 1, but it's jacked up, so it sits higher. So it's kind of like an Afeela 1 with a lift kit. But it's sort of a crossover coupe type of thing. So sort of sedan like, but not quite. That hence the Crown reference, because it's sort of sedanish, but sits higher than a typical sedan. So this is they call it the Prototype 2026, and this is going to be their second model, or at least that's the plan.
Do we really have a first model yet?
Well,
could we get a model we can go zoom and drive in yet?
They've got pre-production ones.
Okay.
They've been building them on the assembly line in Ohio.
Okay.
Slowly.
Steps in the right direction.
Yeah. And it's supposed to actually start deliveries late this year, because it was supposed to be delivering now.
Yeah, I know. Well, and now we're looking at the end of the year, is it? End of the year, right?
Yeah.
So we're a year late. So is this like the level 4 driving? We'll see when it actually shows up. I don't know. I kind of making fun of it. But I hope they all work. Like, I hope they all succeed. I never want to see any company fail, because it's a lot of work they put into these. And in the end, it's always, there's technology, there's all this stuff, but it's people. Well, somewhere there's people. Somewhere there's people who are working on this. But when I saw this, they debuted it last year at CES. Was that when it debuted?
Well,
that's when I first saw it.
They first showed the original concept in 2020 at CES.
Oh my gosh, did they really?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
I think
then it was
last
before they
year.
did the deal with Honda. It was just a Sony Vision SO1 or something like that.
Okay, that's right. Oh my goodness. Grr, arg, information's wrong. Gobble. God.
Yeah. Well, I did a demo with them last year, and then I did another one with them this week. And we did a walk around. We sat inside, and last year the software was, shall we say, far from complete. This year it was a lot better. It was a lot closer. And they talked about the PlayStation remote play capability. So if you get the upper trim level of the Afeela 1, it'll have a couple of screens in the back. You can bring your PlayStation controller. You can stream games from your PlayStation 5 at home right to the screen in the car. Unfortunately, you won't be able to do that to the screens in the front, which would be really cool when you're sitting and charging. If you could use your steering wheel as the controller to play Gran Turismo while you're sitting there waiting to charge. But you won't be able to do that. It's only going to be remote streaming in the rear seats. And we had a roundtable session with the president of Sony Honda Mobility America, and basically, one of the things that came out of that, he was surprisingly frank. But one of the things that came out of it was that they are not, they're expecting Afeela to just be a niche premium brand. They're not trying to make this a high volume brand.
Yeah.
Which, not sure. Yeah.
And why are we doing this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is why they've got Honda building it for them. And most of the mechanical stuff is coming from Honda. So the motors, the suspension, the batteries, that's all coming from the Honda Zero Series. But then all the design and all of the user experience stuff, that's all Sony. And Honda is also working with them on the driver assist stuff and the automated driving stuff. So that's going to be a Sony Honda collaboration on that. But, all of the interior stuff is all Sony. So that's, you get the big widescreen and. Mm-hmm.
It's just weird. It's like. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's we'll see if this thing's any good or not. It's going to be a while, but
it's going to be a while. So that makes me have my doubts. Anytime things get pushed too far in the future, especially from new ventures, I guess, I'm like, oh, guys, I know all this is hard.
Yeah.
I know. Right? It's that you wait too long and and also there's a certain excitement and hype about something anytime it's new. And if you get that going and then you're like, see you in 2 years, it's like, wait, what? You just lose. It's like when you watch a show, when you do the whole show and you love the show and they're like, okay, next season's coming in 2 years. 2 years come down the line, you're like, what was that show again that I loved? Right? Like, it's too long. That's what I did. I did the same thing.
We stopped watching after season 2.
Things. Well, I powered through and watched the end, but it was like, yes, that's what I wanted to see. So apparently Afeela is Stranger Things. That's what I feel like. It's in danger of happening. Afeela is in danger of becoming Stranger Things. But they never had the good hype. But this is the case. It's truly the case for a lot of cars/car companies, even ones that I'm like really excited about and I think have a lot of potential. It's like you wait too long to show the goods or deliver the goods. You show them and then wait too long to deliver, and then it becomes a problem. Yes, one or the other. Wait, don't do because otherwise you lose interest. And I feel like that's going to happen with Afeela, and I feel like as more and more things come out from other automakers and the vagaries of public perception, blah, 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 and what you like 1 week versus the next, I feel like it's danger territory for those guys. Danger, danger.
All right.
Yeah.
So do either of you two ever use the automatic parking features in the cars that you test?
Never. Because they're too slow. They're so slow.
Yes.
Like if you try and parallel park in any of that, half of the city that you're currently in will be honking at you by the time you're done because they've all tried to drive by you as you slowly parallel park on Main Street. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, Aptiv may have a solution for you. They have, because right now for all those auto parking systems, they use the ultrasonic sensors, which are extremely low in resolution. They don't know what anything is. They kind of know where it is in physical space, but they have very limited information. And so they're kind of doing a lot of guesswork, that's why they're going so slow, to minimize the potential of anything going wrong.
Okay.
So they have a new sensor called the pulse sensor. And it's actually an acronym for something that I don't even remember, and it doesn't matter. But what it is a little sensor. It's similar in size to the ultrasonic sensors. Those little buttons you see on your bumpers of your cars. But it's actually
wait, I got it. It's the Parking Urban Localization and Surround Enhancement Sensor.
Okay. Anyway, it's It's a it's a combination of a little ultra wide angle camera, and a radar sensor in one little module. And you can, because it's got the camera, it can tell what is around you and do the classification. And the radar sensor gives you much more precise accuracy on exactly how far away you are from the other car or from the curb. Because, ultrasonic sensors can't see the curb. They don't know where the curb is. So one of the things, if you're using these auto parking systems, they often leave quite a bit of a gap to the curb because they don't want to curb your wheels. So this thing, because it can see where the curb is, and it's got radar in there as well, they say it can park much faster than the ultrasonic sensors. We'll see. But they also say that it's the whole sensor cluster is similar in price to the ultrasonic sensors, but the system cost will be lower because you don't need as many of these sensors. Some cars now have as many as 12 of these ultrasonic sensors, which means you got to have wiring to all 12 of these things. And because of the wide angle nature, the information you get from the pulse sensor, you only need like 3 or 4 of them in order to get a surround view of the car, and you can park much, much faster than before. So it'll be interesting to see when that cars start coming out with this.
When they say much, much faster, I'm cool with that. But much, much faster compared to what it was is kind of still really slow. Like, is it going to be like a normal human, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be normal human speed? Like, I want to know, they're going to park just as quickly as a competent person would park.
We don't know yet.
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'll still sense out to about 20, 25 meters. So, just maneuvering around urban spaces, it should be a lot better for that as well. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else. We don't need to talk about that. Let's talk.
Wow. Okay. I don't know what just got asked. You have to put a little dot next to it.
Kodiak and Bosch partnership.
Okay.
Let's talk about Zoox. So Zoox is another robotaxi company. They started in 2014, and right from the beginning, their plan was to develop an automated driving system and to develop a purpose-built robotaxi, not to modify Jaguar I-Paces or Hyundai Ioniq 5s, but to have a purpose-built robotaxi. And they finally have those in service now in Las Vegas. They also have some that are testing in San Francisco. So if you're in Las Vegas, depending where you are, you can download the Zoox app, and depending on where you are, you can summon a ride with one of their little Zoox pods. And it's kind of a cool vehicle. It's a 4-seater with what they call carriage seating, so everybody's facing the center of the car. And it's got sliding doors. It's completely symmetrical. There's no front or back to the thing. Depending on which direction it's going, the lights on the end of the car that would be considered the back are red, and the lights on the other end of the car are white. And when it goes back in the opposite direction, they just switch colors. So it's got two motors, 2 complete sets of braking and steering systems that are independent. So you got full redundancy. So if something goes wrong at one end of the car, you still have steering and braking and propulsion capability from the other end of the car. It's a pretty cool vehicle. And I decided, while I was in Vegas that, I should probably go take a ride in one of these things because it's my job. Right now, if you're in Vegas, they are not actually charging for rides. So yeah, free rides, which, when you consider what it costs to take an Uber or a Lyft or a taxi in Las Vegas, that's a good deal. And Sunday afternoon, after some other stuff I had to do, I decided to go over to Mandalay Bay and figured, okay, I'm going to, because they showed in the app, they show the map of where the service area, which covers like most of the area around the Strip and from basically from Mandalay Bay up to like the Stratosphere area. But what they don't tell you at first is that, we can't actually stop at all of these places yet. Right now there's only 7 places they can go. So I went to Mandalay Bay, not realizing, and I pulled up the app and figured, okay, so I'm going to ride. And said, oh, sorry, you can't get picked up here. You got to go over to the Luxor. And the Luxor is next door to Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. And the Luxor, if you've seen pictures of Las Vegas, it's the one that's shaped like a pyramid, like an Egyptian pyramid.
Yep.
And last year they had one side of it all wrapped like a giant Dorito. They had sponsorship from Dorito. The Dorito sponsorship, I guess, has ended, so that's gone. But walking next door somewhere in Las Vegas, if you've not been to Las Vegas, not a walkable city.
Like next door sounds easy, but
yeah.
Yeah, just because you can see it doesn't mean you can walk there in the same day.
Yeah, well, I mean, and on Thursday or Wednesday, I had 2 meetings, one in Fontainebleau and the other one in the West Hall of the Convention Center. And, again, literally right next door. When you are standing outside the Fontainebleau, it's about 40 feet to the wall of the Convention Center. But to get from where I was in the Fontainebleau to where I had to go in the Convention Center, it was a good 20, 25-minute walk. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, you know how on your rearview mirror it says objects in mirror are closer than they appear? Las Vegas is the opposite of that. Objects that you can see are farther than they appear because of the scale, these giant, enormous hotels. Everything looks closer than it really is, and you can never walk a straight line from one point to another in Las Vegas without meandering around. So, anyway, I walked, it was about like 15, 18-minute walk over to where the pickup point was at the Luxor. And so as I'm going over there, once I got in range of where the Zoox pickup was at the valet pickup, I opened up the app, requested a ride, and at first it said like 45 minutes for a ride. And
wow.
as I got closer, that time got longer. By the time I got there, it was like 54 minutes. And it turns out the reason why, I made the mistake of doing this right at the time that the football game, the Las Vegas Raiders football game, was getting out. So it was just tons and tons of people. So I sat around waiting for nearly an hour, but finally ended up getting a ride. And a bunch of these things came through, picking up other people. And it turns out there's about 40 of these things operating in Las Vegas right now. And so I rode from the Luxor up to Resorts World, which is the northernmost drop-off spot. And it was pretty uneventful ride. It was smooth and quiet. And it's nice. You get inside, you sit down, put on your seatbelt. You guys, have you been in a Rolls-Royce Phantom that's got the star thing in the ceiling?
Mm-hmm.
They've got little fiber optic things and lights up looks like the night sky. They had that
fancy.
in the roof of the Zoox robotaxis, which is kind of cool. Yeah, and it's got for each of the 4 seating positions, there's a wireless charging pad, so you can put your phone down and charge it, and then forget it when you get out of the Zoox. And cup holders for everybody, seat belts. And it was a smooth ride. It was good, except for the long wait.
I was talking to a driver, and I don't know if there's an Uber or whatever, and asking about the Zoox. And he's like, we haven't any issues with them. I haven't seen any problems. I'm driving around all the time and never heard any issues about them not working right. So he was pleased with them. Right? Exactly.
But they only have 40 cars in Las Vegas. Yeah. What? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so limited.
Yeah. Well, I mean, half of fatal crashes in the United States are on rural roads. You know what doesn't operate on any rural roads anywhere in the country? Autonomous vehicles.
Autonomous vehicles.
Not even one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, hold on a second.
Yeah.
The world.
All right. Let's see what else. Volvo EX60. Volvo's doing a full reveal of the EX60, which is their next EV. It's their mid-sized crossover in a couple of weeks. But they released a teaser and some data this week, and it's looks pretty promising. What do you think of? Let's see, was it 810 kilometers, so about 500 miles of range, 200 miles of charging range from charging in 10 minutes on a 400 volt or 400 kilowatt charger, 800 volt electrical system.
I mean, it sounds good. 500 miles of range sounds fabulous. So does getting 200 miles in 10 minutes. So they do.
Yeah. Yeah, literally every automaker.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, it's about 500 miles. Yeah, so it'll be like probably 400-ish. Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, 400, that takes you through so much.
All right. So, Nicole,
yes.
You got rid of one Jeep. You still have one in your driveway.
Not in the driveway because, there's other issues where you're not supposed to park it in the garages and buildings and stuff. But go ahead.
So
sure, we'll go with that.
Where do you park your the wagon, the Wrangler?
The Wrangler's just parked in the driveway so that if it catches fire and bursts into flames, it doesn't take the house with it.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's what I've been told. I'm supposed to park it in the driveway for now. It's perfect in January in New Hampshire, by the way.
Yeah, perfect. This week, Stellantis officially confirmed that they are discontinuing all of their Jeep and Chrysler plug-in hybrid models in North America.
No way.
So the Pacifica plug-in hybrid, the Wrangler, the Grand Cherokee, they're all done.
Was the Pacifica having all the same problems that the Jeep was having? Honestly,
they had quite a few recalls on
so they had recall issues too.
Battery fires on those. Yeah. There were multiple occasions where they told customers not to park them in the garage, not to charge them. In fact, Robbie, do you know Devendra Hardawar from Engadget? Yeah, he had a Pacifica plug-in hybrid for a while, And they eventually got rid of it because he got so fed up with not actually being able to use the plug-in part of it and having to park it outdoors all the time. And they subsequently replaced it with an XC90 plug-in hybrid, and he's also got a Leaf that he uses for just around town commuting.
It is super frustrating. I know more than a few people have ditched plug-in hybrid Jeeps that they've kept for a certain amount of time, like a brief, less time than they intended, and then they got rid of them because, the number of times it's don't plug in your car and charge it, don't park it in the garage, or it just flat out says, no, I'm not working in EV mode, take it in to figure out why. It was frustrating. I think that I get why they did it, given the track record their vehicles have had, but I think that I'm not even talking about my Wagoneer S, just the problems they've had with the PHEVs, you know what I mean? But it does make you a little bit wary. I'm like, okay, so you're coming out with the Recon, that's another EV, and you got the Cherokee Hybrid, and it's not a plug-in, but have you guys figured this out? Have you figured it out? Why should I trust you? That's what I want to ask Tim Kuniskis. Why should I trust you? Why should I trust you?
That's
should
a
I
good
trust
question.
you that you got this? Why should I trust you, Tim? That's going to be my question. Even with just a hybrid, because we've... Yeah. If you can't plug in,
kind of pointless.
Like you bought a plug-in hybrid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, honestly, the thing is, it's such a reputation killer. I mean, it just, you want to be like, just don't build them right now. Just say, you know what? We're not on board with this. We can't build these right now. We're figuring it out. We're going to take a little time. We'll see you soon. Like, don't do it. Don't. And that's a problem. Like, the trust thing is huge. That if you can't, and I don't know, the number of people that I've spoken to in terms of listeners that have messaged us after my experiences and just reading things, and they have a trust issue. There's getting to be a trust issue.
Well, apparently, if you want to trust your car, there are some good choices out there. You had something published this week, Nicole.
Yes.
But commuter cars that will have a high likelihood of hitting 250,000 miles. Wasn't that yours?
I don't, and literally my screen went out, so I can't even look. Where was?
Oh, never mind. That was
it?
It was on top speed, but it was Peter, because it came up when I searched for your name to see what you had written this week.
Is it an image from me?
No.
I wonder if it's no. Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's
like,
one of your photos.
What?
No, it looks like these are all press photos.
I'm like, I don't think I wrote that.
I don't know why Google popped that one up with your name. I didn't.
Google gave me a little extra.
My anyway,
continued. I can't see the screen, so I can't even look anything up. My computer's frozen, but I'm afraid to touch anything. So.
All right.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Anyway, he's got a list of the 250 commuter cars that are most likely to get to 250,000 miles.
Okay.
And shockingly, 4 of them are basically the same car.
What are they? Are they Toyotas?
Yes, they are.
See, even without my screen, I know what it says.
My mouse is going nuts here.
Toyotas and Hondas?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, my gosh. It's Toyotas and Hondas.
Lexus ES
Surprising
hybrid.
No one. Okay.
7.5% chance of hitting 250,000 miles.
Okay.
The Honda Accord, 8.8% chance of hitting 250,000 miles. The Toyota Camry, 9% chance of hitting 250. Also, the Camry Hybrid, which was at 10.2%, and the Toyota Avalon, which is no longer available. It's out of production now, but that one is 9.7% chance of hitting 250,000 miles. And of course, the Avalon and the ES are both based on the same platform as the Camry. So
surprising
four that are basically the same car.
So surprising no one, if you want a car that lasts forever, buy a Toyota.
Yes. Or a Honda Accord.
Or a Honda, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see
Where could you get that information, I wonder?
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I'm not sure where he got the numbers, but at least anecdotally it seems correct.
It tracks with what we would all accept. Yes.
Yeah.
There we go with our lived experience.
All right. And then, one more here. Tensor. You didn't talk about Tensor, did you?
So I didn't. And so when we were talking about the autonomous stuff, so I spoke to the folks at Tensor. I spoke to their, well, I got to look at my paper because I have a screen. Amy Luca, who's the chief marketing officer. She was really cool to talk to, walked me around the car, showed it to me. But what kind of makes it neat is Tensor, they say it's going to be on sale in the U.S. by the end of the year. Coming.
Just like the Afeela.
And this is a level 4 autonomous vehicle that you can own. Instead of being like a robotaxi that you're going to Zoox or whoever and you're just calling it for your taxi ride, it's going to be your very own. Like you can buy it and you can own it. And the idea being that you can drive when you want to drive, because there is a steering wheel. It kind of niftily, so it's when it's a steering wheel, it's the steering wheel, and then it pops into the dashboard, and sort of the second screen, which is the infotainment screen, goes whoop and covers the steering wheel when you're not driving. So it slides back and forth. And it was built as a very tech-forward car. It says, I think, 100 sensors and all, so there's a lot of redundancies in a good way, so that you theoretically, doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, sleeting, whatever, everything's going to be fine. It's going to be able to see everything and do everything. And so good that you could actually rent out, like you could have your Tensor join up with Uber or something and just give people drives. So it could make money for you when you're not using it. That's what they're billing this as. It looks pretty cool. They don't have pricing on it yet. They're saying, she said, this is a luxury vehicle. So that should tell you. So it's going to be, I would imagine, a 6-figure car. I'm thinking Lucid territory is what I would guess. But it was neat because it really was something that they build as like designed to be a level 4 vehicle right from the get-go. This is where it's going to be. This is their whole objective, and something that you can choose to drive, choose not to drive. You can get out of it and say, go park yourself. You can call it, so you don't have to go out and walk in the rain and the snow. The idea of this is so very cool, but like we were talking about a lot of things, whether it will come to fruition, that's the big question. But it was amazing to see it.
So
end of the year.
So Tensor, for a little background on the company, Tensor was formerly known as AutoX. And this was a Chinese company that was developing robotaxis that were not intended for sale to regular consumers. And they were running some robotaxi services in a couple of Chinese cities, piloting some robotaxi services. So, they definitely have the technology. They know how to do this. And previously their robotaxi fleet in China was using the aforementioned Pacifica plug-in hybrids because along with a lot of other AV companies that were using those, because Chrysler for a time offered an AV-ready version of the Pacifica. After they did their original deal with Waymo to supply them with Pacificas, they created basically an off-the-shelf AV-ready version of the Pacifica that was pre-wired for all the compute and all the sensors and everything, and was made it as close as possible to plug and play for a company like AutoX or Aurora or numerous others to buy these, plug their computers and their sensors into it, and get up and running relatively quickly, without having to tear apart the entire vehicle. This is not that. This is the same automated driving system, but it's a completely different vehicle. But when you look at it, it has the same kind of sensor array that you would find on a Waymo or a Zoox or something else. So it's not a pretty vehicle. Yeah.
Got a little hat. On it. Got a little hat.
And
it's different.
But I'm sure it's going to be expensive.
It's going to be expensive. Like, she didn't say it's going to be expensive. She said it's a luxury, vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be cheap. It's kind of, in a way, like what you're talking about with Afeela. It's going to be it's a very small number of people who are probably going to be able to afford it and who are going to want to go all in with this, sort of. So I don't see, it's not like they're making a mass market vehicle that can sell like a Camry or something. It's going to be a really small niche that's going to want to buy this. But I did find it interesting, the amount of, like, just how redundant they made the systems. Like, to sort of alleviate the fear of, well, what if a sensor's blocked? What if this is like, no, there's like system upon system upon system to make sure it sees where it's going. And also, which is good.
Which is the way it should be.
Which is good, right? Which is a good thing. And the idea that they, they're calling it a robotaxi. But they're saying it's a robotaxi you buy instead of a robotaxi you hail. It's a robotaxi that you buy. And now you own a robotaxi that you can send out and do what, to do things like an Uber or any other robotaxi would do. And you can use it on your own and just relax in the back, or you can choose to drive it if you want to drive it. It's an interesting idea. I would love to see if they can hit, on sale by the end of the year. I mean, I think they could probably hit on sale. There was no delivery time given. So even if it's on sale at the end of the year, we don't know, is delivery January of 27 or is delivery, 2029? I have no idea. That's always a kicker, right? It's like, when are you actually going to have this thing in people's hands? It'll be an interesting vehicle to see how far they get and how quickly they actually get it on a road in the United States.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how many of these they can sell, because I think the number is going to be somewhat small.
I think it's going to be small.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who else was there? They still.
Yeah, it's not clear who they're going to work with to build these things.
Yeah. Right. Right. And we'll pull it off for you. Who knows? That could be where it goes. Also, Sam, didn't we take a ride in a Faraday last year? Wasn't I with you? Didn't we do that?
Yes. Around very slowly around a small parking lot in the Faraday van.
I thought of you. The Faraday van, I saw it. They had a whole big activation inside the Renaissance Hotel.
Yeah, they had an investor day.
Is that what
there.
it was?
Yeah.
I just saw it. It was like, I walked in to use the bathroom, people, and I was like, hey, Faraday's here. Like, that's all in the lobby. I had no idea they were even there. I'm like, they're still kicking. They're still kicking.
Yeah. Well, I guess this year they announced they're going to do humanoid robots this year.
Oh.
So,
because
shocker.
are you even really in technology if you're not trying to make a humanoid robot at this point?
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what all the other car makers are doing. If they're not doing robots.
If you're not doing robots,
Tesla and Hyundai. That's basically it.
Honda had one they got rid of. What was his name?
Asimo.
Asimo's dead, isn't it?
Yeah, about 10 years ago.
I know, but Asimo died. Asimo was first to market, and he's dead already. Yeah, but the name lives on, but the cute little bot doesn't. Yeah. Poof. Standing's hard. It's hard. We all have our bad days.
That's why these robots should be on wheels, not on two legs. Yeah.
But the dogs are creepy. The early dog, the yellow dogs, the robot dogs, the ones that Hyundai uses in their plant.
Yeah.
Spot. Cute name. Creepy dog.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I watched, he grabbed a door handle at the CES thing, and he walks up the door handle, his little head, neck, arm, whatever goes higher, and then very slowly those claws go and open. I'm like, I don't know, because I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna like squash my brain in the middle of the night when they take over.
Oh yeah,
I have not. I've not watched that.
Was it Heavy Metal? I think it was titled.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Geez, maybe I shouldn't.
All right. We have some more listener suggestions for Nicole's shopping journey, car shopping journey.
Oh, cool. What are they, since I can't read anything right now?
So Eddie M suggested, this was a very short one, says, I know she liked the Honda Passport. Why not just get one?
Because it's not as fancy as I want it to be inside. I want a little bit more fancy. It's lovely. If I was looking for like that level of car, I would be considering the Passport because I do love it. I like it very much. But I don't think that's not the vibe I want in my car.
You're at the point in life where you want to treat yourself.
Correct, good sir. That's exactly it. I'm at the point in life where I would like to treat myself.
All right. Well, then I think Sean W's got you covered.
Okay, what's Sean
hello,
say?
Wheel Bearings crew. I think Nicole should get an EQS sedan, a Mercedes EQS. Not just any EQS sedan, but this one. And he's got a link, and I don't know if it's to a dealer.
When I can reboot everything on my laptop,
North Coast,
I'll look.
North Coast Mitsubishi in Cleveland. Oh, it's still available.
Oh, look at that.
So it's in West Cleveland.
Okay, I'd have to go to Cleveland.
And so why? So I can stop thinking about it. I test drove it and enjoyed it. Range is great. Comfort is great. The rear wheel steering is unreal. Why a $122,000 car doesn't have a heated steering wheel makes no sense, but compromises have to be made. The hatch is great. My cyclocross bike fit inside super easily. Why would I not want this $80,000 plus off EQS? Because it's just a smidge less quiet than my current leased Cadillac Lyriq. She could also consider an off-lease Lyriq. All-wheel drive, more power than anyone needs, comfort and quiet. And sorry, Sean, but quiet is spelled Q-U-I-E-T, not T-E. You made that same typo twice here. I know.
Look at you being the grammar police, Sean. It's okay.
All right. So anyway, all-wheel drive, more power than anyone needs, comfort and quiet, a company committed to EVs. Don't get the Poverty Spec 2024, only Tech Line, and she gets Super Cruise. So if you get anything but the Tech Line, you get Super Cruise.
Everybody has said to get, actually, I've had a lot of people say Lyriq.
Yeah.
You're not alone in that.
Rear seat room and cargo space are massive for her husband and daughter's boyfriend. Or if you all can help convince me I'm not crazy for liking the Lyriq more than an EQS sedan, that would be great. Bonus for the Lyriq. The Ohio titles call it a station wagon. Same is true for our Kia EV6 here in Michigan. The title says station wagon, not SUV. So this particular EQS that is for sale is $39,699.
Wow.
And it only has 20,691 miles on it.
But I feel like the part I took out of that was that it has no heated steering wheel.
Yeah. Is that a deal breaker in New Hampshire in winter?
It's a deal breaker because because the Subaru I'm in, unless I missed it, also doesn't have a heated steering wheel. Was very displeased with this. When I was looking everywhere, I couldn't find the but. Heated steering wheel, heated seats. Remember, I want the fancy. If your fancy doesn't include a heated steering wheel for that original price, what the heck?
So
I think Lyriq has both, right?
Yeah, Lyriq has a heated steering wheel,
seats.
and you get
Lyriq
Super
would
Cruise.
be a better option. And the Super Cruise, I do like Super Cruise.
Yeah.
I like the Super Cruise. I don't know. I'd even thought really a Cadillac, but everyone keeps saying Lyriq. That has come up more than once.
Yeah. It's a similar size to what you had. Probably better rear seat room than this Wagoneer.
Probably.
And it will actually work.
That's the biggest part. That's the biggest part.
As long as you can live with going in the touchscreen to open the glove box, it does have.
How often do you go in the glove box, though? See, glove box touchscreen I can handle. It's the vents that I touch all the time that I can't handle. That would make me cranky. But like the glove box, Like, when do you need to go in there? When you need your registration for something because you got pulled over or because you're at the getting maintenance on your car. That's it.
Yeah. And let's see, there was also in the Discord, I didn't put it in the rundown here yet, but there was also from Staniel, and I can't remember if we talked about this one or not. We might have.
Wait, I remember the name.
Yeah. Okay, we did talk about this one. Yeah.
Okay.
And he had also brought up the lyric.
Yeah. See?
And that was a
Lyric
couple
has
weeks
come
ago.
up. Yep, lyric keeps coming up. That should be on my list to go.
Yeah.
Give it a spin. I should give lyric a spin.
Yeah.
I've driven it. I should just give it a fresh spin.
Yeah. And for now, you can still get CarPlay on there. So.
Oh, that's right. If I get it now, and then it's going. Yeah. See, you want to get it before CarPlay goes away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or
like
they suggested, somebody suggested, get an off lease lyric. You can get amazing deals on lightly used EVs, like we did. So that's definitely one to consider, I think. So Sean, I'm sorry, but we're, can we explain, can we give Sean a justification for not buying this EQS?
It doesn't have a heated steering wheel, Sean.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, we don't know what Sean's family situation is.
No, for Sean, but the heated steering wheel. That's the reason.
Yeah.
That's how
he likes the hatchback and he can get his bike in there. So, but the heated steering wheel, if that's a deal breaker for you, Sean.
You live in Cleveland. It gets cold. Heated steering wheel, my friend. That's what you want to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, you get those lake effect snows off of Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They freeze you half to death. It's that time of year.
Yeah. So don't get the EQS, Sean. Unless you really feel like you need an EQS, then go for it.
Then go ahead and get what speaks to you.
Yeah. And it's less than $40,000. For a car that costs $122 new.
Jeez, that is cheap though.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this week. I do have an interview that will be added on here at the end. So keep listening for my conversation with Glen de Vos, who is the CEO of Microvision. I first met Glen years ago when he was CTO at Aptiv, and he left Aptiv a couple of years back, and he's now CEO of Microvision, which is a LiDAR company. Well, it was other stuff. It was mostly an R&D company for most of its nearly 30-year history, but in the last couple of years, it's really gotten into LiDAR and trying to commercialize it. And they've got a new LiDAR sensor that is like $200. And speaking of LiDAR, I had a conversation this week with David Lee, who's the CEO of Hesai, a Chinese LiDAR company. Last year in China, 3 million cars sold with LiDAR. 1 million of which had Hesai LiDAR sensors.
Wow.
And they are currently building a factory in Thailand, which will be coming online later this year, to supply LiDAR sensors to the rest of the world.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. So, no China tariffs on those. So we may see Hesai LiDARs coming to vehicles outside of China in the not too distant future. But stay tuned for the conversation with Glen, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Glen, it's good to see you again. I think it was almost 10 years ago that I first met you when you were CTO of Delphi.
Yeah.
And one of the things, when we first met, it was when we were learning about what Delphi was doing in the area of automated driving. And over the years, that transformed from Delphi to Aptiv, but now you've got a totally new role. You are, since the last few months, you've been CEO of a company called Microvision. So tell us, what is Microvision? Because most people probably have never heard of it.
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, Sam, great to talk to you again. Like you said, we've been at CES many times and other shows, and it's always a pleasure. I joined Microvision in April as CTO and then took over as CEO here in beginning of October. And Microvision is an interesting company. It's been around. It spun out from University of Washington back 30 years ago. And so it's been a public company for 30 years. And historically, it's been focused on laser projection systems. That's been its history. How to manage and develop laser projection systems, working with lasers, working with MEMS. So as part of the projection and guidance system. And about 5 years ago, realized they have technology that would be interesting for auto. So if you think about 5 years, a lot of interest for LiDAR for auto. And then about 3 years ago, Microvision acquired Ibeo, which was actually one of the first companies I worked with at Delphi for the automated cars we drove here at CES in 2015. Yeah. So they acquired Ibeo about 3 years ago, and that really brought them short-range LiDAR capabilities as well. So long-range scanning with MEMS, that was the Microvision IP, and then short-range coming from flash LiDAR coming from Ibeo. And so what I'm doing now as CEO is really taking that core technology and then driving applications in 3 markets. The first is auto. That's the big market for LiDAR. And I'm convinced, and I know we can lower the cost of LiDAR to where it's not only affordable for level 3, but ultimately affordable for level 2 ADAS systems. The other markets are industrial, and what's exciting there isn't just industrial automation, which is really picking up, but industrial ADAS. So equipping forklifts, tuggers, and other industrial vehicles that are manually operated today with no safety, with no ADAS systems, being able to equip them with ADAS systems, prevent accidents and really other issues that, with manually driven vehicles. The third market that we're in now is security and defense. And so that's looking at using LiDAR on drones to do real-time mapping, navigation in denied areas, and then also extending the perception system of ground-based autonomous vehicles. So putting a LiDAR in a drone that moves ahead of the vehicle 50, 100, or half a kilometer and is able to basically extend the perception system for those off-road autonomous vehicles. That's what we're doing. 26 will be a really important year for us as we start now getting commercial traction on the technologies, and excited to be talking to you more about how the success along the way.
Yeah. So I first became aware of Microvision probably about 5 years ago, around that time that they started looking at the automotive space, and I had never heard of the company before, as most people hadn't. And, they started showing a MEMS LiDAR sensor, so this is the LiDAR sensor that's using a solid state, little tiny micromechanical mirror system to steer a light laser beam. And there's a bunch of companies that are doing that kind of technology. And it didn't seem to be anything particularly unique about what Microvision was doing at the time, with that. But, then when you acquired Ibeo, Afeela is also an interesting company that I've been talking to for many years. Yeah. And, they had a very interesting, completely solid state flash LiDAR system. Yeah. So describe what the difference is with what is now known as the Microvision Movio S sensor versus that MEMS type of LiDAR. Yep. And, the one that most people are probably most familiar with, the kind of the spinning LiDAR.
Yeah. So Movio S, which is, as you said, a flash LiDAR system, and that's what really enables it to be solid state, is it's a VCSEL, which is a edge-emitting laser that, illuminates paints the area, and then a receiver chip, a SPAD receiver chip that then receives the images. And that technology is very much used for shorter range, so 30 to 50 meters. If you think about it, it's a fixed resolution, so it's kind of like a camera. It's fixed in terms of the resolution. So the way you expand its field of view is through the lens. So depending on what lens you put on, you could do 60-degree field of view. You could do 180, which is what we were showing. And so the lens determines the field of view, but obviously influences the resolution. Well, now that we have VCSELs and SPADs that have sufficient resolution to be able to see with adequate detail 30, 50 meters out, we can now take a solid state LiDAR and really make something useful for automotive. That gives you a near field detection that's just amazing. Wow, how is that different than kind of the spinning LiDAR or the electromechanical? spinning LiDAR, let me talk automotive first. Spinning LiDAR that you see today usually has a mirror or some type of a rotating, spinning reflector that takes a much smaller number of beams and scans over a limited field of view. So you may only do 60 or 120 degrees horizontally and maybe 30 degrees vertically. So it's a narrower field of view. It's far fewer lasers because you're scanning as opposed to
in many cases just one single laser.
It could be one, it could be four, but it's a lot fewer. And you're using electromechanical scanning to be able to cover the area of interest. But those tend to be used for longer range. So you don't have the wide field of view, but you have range. And that's what you see today, by and large, in automotive applications. Some scanning mechanism. Now, what was interesting with Maven, which is Microvision's product for long range today, is it uses a MEMS for scanning. So it doesn't use a spinning mirror or a mirror on a stepper motor. It uses actually a MEMS microelectronics mirror that does the scanning. And that in combination with the photo optics and the what we call field expansion optics gives the LiDAR the range of motion. And the advantage to that is, MEMS are very compact. So it's a much more compact technology. You can drive them at, frequency, 20 hertz frequency is not an issue. And it really means you don't have a motor or moving parts. You have a MEMS, which is a very mature technology that actually does the scanning mechanism. And that again can do 200 meters, 200 meters for long range detection. Spinning LiDAR, which was, if you think back in the day, the big Velodyne, what we call the KFC bucket. Yep. That's where, that's the origin of spinning LiDAR. And that is, I take a row of emitters, and I spin and I, detect as I'm spinning. And that can give you very good long range coverage as well as 360 coverage. That's the big advantage. I get 360 coverage. I'm not limited in terms of my field of view. And then you've seen that technology get smaller and smaller, with what Velodyne had done and Ouster and Xi and the others. They're making them more compact, adding more beams. The issue with spinning LiDAR is one, it's a complex spinning mechanism. So from a cost standpoint, it's expensive. The second issue is obscuration. You only have one sensor, so I got to put the sensor, and the vehicle itself or other things will obscure what the sensor can see. And so for near field detection, you can't see around things. And so you end up with more than one, which means more cost. And that's really been, but that's been the state of the art, if you will, for industrial as well as for kind of the robotaxi market. So what we're excited about is being able to offer more of a satellite sensor architecture, lower cost, smaller, lower power sensors that you can put around the entire vehicle to give you a very good mapping of the vehicle, and doing so at a lower cost.
Yeah, so the Movie OS is the flash LiDAR, and we took a ride in one of your development vehicles. It's got 3 of these on there. It gives you a full 360-degree view around the vehicle within about 25 or so meters, 25 to 30 meters or so. So what do you see, what are the kinds of, in automotive, what are the kinds of applications where that's going to be useful?
Yeah. So really it's around urban driving. So if you think about autonomous or level 3 systems today, those are primarily highway driving. And where you're looking down the highway, you're really focused on long range. So when we talk about Movie S, it's more around near field detection. So it's more for urban driving. So you're driving in an area that has a lot of pedestrians and bicyclists and cyclists and, bollards and all sorts of, you name it, all sorts of things right around the vehicle, other cars. And this is a sensor that really shows and can detect in that environment. So it's not focused on highway driving, it's focused more on urban driving. The other thing is, and you saw in the vehicle, it can see right down what we call the drip line of the vehicle. So it's perfect for things like parking functions where you can see the curb, you can see if somebody's there, you can see debris or trash or bottles. It's all visible right along the drip line of the vehicle. So for parking or near field detection, it's perfect. And so as level 3 moves from simply being a highway specific function to being more urban, this is where you'll need this type of sensor.
Yeah, and you've talked about tri-lidar architecture. Yep. So using 2 of those short range sensors in the front corners, and then that providing kind of your near field all the way around the vehicle coverage, and then a long range sensor up by the top of the windshield somewhere.
Yep, that's right.
To give you that higher speed capability.
Yeah, today what you see is usually one sensor in the car, and that's mainly for highway pilot, for highway functions. And what we expect is level 3 will take on urban driving as well, and all things in between. And that's where you'll need that much wider field of view, near field detection to do that. And then along with that, just for ADAS systems, the concern around vulnerable road users I mentioned says we need better near field detection on the perception system. Radar is getting better, cameras continue to get better. The LiDAR is really excellent at doing that, and so we think it can be helpful.
And in the past decade, the increase that we've seen in traffic fatalities has been almost entirely due to vulnerable road users, pedestrians, cyclists. The people inside the vehicle, they're as safe as they've ever been, probably safer. But it's the people on the outside that aren't in cars.
Well, it's interesting because you're seeing some of that data coming out now about automated driving and ADAS systems. There have been enough, millions of miles driven where they can see it's having a very good impact on traffic fatalities for vehicles, for automotive fatalities. VRUs and pedestrians, on the other hand, those fatalities are going down.
Yeah.
And in some respects, distracted driving is even more of an issue.
Distracted driving and more people driving big SUVs and trucks where you have less visibility of what's around you.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And this is something where this type of sensor could really help.
Yeah.
So how much does this cost?
So for automotive, we're expecting launch timing at calendar year 29, and that's at $200.
Okay, $200 per sensor.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what we believe is, that gets you into a level 3 system. I mean, a level 3 system can afford that. We know that to get down to level 2 ADAS systems, you really got to be more around 100. And so we have to get to there. That's really where our next generation is targeted.
Okay. And the current Movia and Maven sensors is not the end of the line for Microvision. You just closed the acquisition of another company that's going to help you with another next generation sensor that's even higher performance.
Yeah. We closed on the acquisition of Scantinel Photonics in Ulm, Germany. And that team has been working on 1550 nanometer FMCW, or frequency modulated continuous wave technology. So ultra long sensing, so 300 meters. 1550 has some really nice advantages relative to weather performance. You think about our near field detection, it's not as susceptible to that. You got a lot of points. It's weather's not going to be a big issue. Long range weather, there's a lot of weather between you and the object.
You got snow and rain coming down.
Rain. 1550 is a great technology for that. So for ultra long range, and the chip scale packaging that they're able to do of the photonics integrated circuit. So being able to put the lasers, the detectors, the optical amplifiers all onto a single PIC, as we say, a photonics integrated circuit, is a real game changer, we think. And so we'll come out with our first A samples of that product early next year. And from there on, then it's all about bringing it to market.
What do you see as a potential timeline for that type of sensor to hit the market?
With A samples, probably more in the 31 time frame.
Okay.
Realistic.
5 years out.
Yeah, so from where we are today.
Yeah.
Maybe sooner than that for defense or some of the other applications. But when you think about vehicle development times, A sample plus 4 years to, SOP, not uncommon.
Yeah. All right. Well, Glen, it's great to see you again, and great to find out more about what Microvision is doing, because like I said, it's a company that came to my attention several years back. It wasn't clear what their intentions were, because they didn't have any real presence in automotive or anything else for that matter. And nice to see something concrete happening with the company.
No, we're really excited. Sam, great to talk to you again, as always.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
All right.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.